You already carry the key to transforming your health, independence, and quality of life, but chances are you're barely using it. While our culture obsesses over cardio and quick fixes, the truth is training our muscles is the closest thing we have to a fountain of youth. Contrary to popular bias, building muscle isn't just a vanity project for dull bodybuilders. It's about preventing disease, sharpening your mind, and maintaining your freedom in old age. This summary combines a sweeping historical perspective on exercise with the latest training to help you gain a completely new perspective on what it means to be truly healthy. Whether you're 25 or 75, male or female, a fitness beginner or a movement pro, you'll be inspired to build the muscle that can handle whatever life demands of you. So let's get into it. Imagine having the world's most powerful engine, but never learning how to start it. That's essentially what modern life has done to our bodies. The largest human muscle, the gluteus maximus, is an evolutionary marvel, designed to propel our unique bipedal gait. Once upon a time, it made us dangerously fast hunters. But today, most of us barely know it exists, let alone how to use it properly. This disconnect between our physical potential and daily reality represents a fascinating reversal from ancient times. Take the original Olympic Games. They weren't about personal fitness achievements or muscle-building bragging rights. Instead, the winning sprinter would grab a torch and literally light the altar fire to complete a sacred offering to Zeus. Victory belonged to the entire community, not the individual athlete. Ancient Greeks thought about strength in a much more mystical way than we do today. Homer's epic poems describe 8 different types of strength, but none came from what we'd recognize as muscular development. Strength was a divine gift, temporarily granted by the gods. Warriors in the Iliad and Odyssey are described through their actions and divine blessings, never through their physiques. In fact, Homer mentions individual muscles only twice, and both times it's to describe them being stripped away in fatal wounds. The Greeks developed impressive athletic bodies through sophisticated training, but they had virtually no understanding of how muscles actually worked. They achieved what we might call ignorant mastery, remarkable physical development without grasping the biological mechanisms behind it. Today, we've flipped this relationship entirely. We understand muscle physiology down to the cellular level, yet we've created lifestyles that systematically work against our bodies. Many of us suffer from gluteal amnesia, a clinical condition in which our crucial gluteal muscles have become so inactive, our nervous systems essentially forgets them. We know exactly how progressive resistance training builds muscle, yet we barely think about the importance of muscle in our daily life, let alone make use of it. Instead, we need gyms and fitness apps to recreate the natural movement patterns our ancestors took for granted. The irony is profound. We've gained unprecedented knowledge about our physical machinery while losing the intuitive wisdom of how to live within it. How did this happen? In recent decades, health headlines like "Exercise boosts brain power" and "Regular strength training can improve your mood" have begun popping up, touted as grand new discoveries. But for many, the connection between mind and body is still a surprise. That's the lingering effect of a 2,000-year-old philosophical fallacy. The idea that mind and body are separate, competing forces is a historical accident with devastating consequences. In ancient Greece's earliest stories, the soul and body worked as one unified system, only separating at death. But around the 4th century BCE, the philosopher Plato introduced a radical new concept: mind and body as opposing forces locked in eternal conflict. This wasn't just abstract philosophy. In Greek gymnasiums, doctors and athletic trainers battled fiercely for authority over the human body. Early physicians sometimes declared athletics dangerous to health, setting up a false choice between being healthy and being strong. The conflict intensified when Galen, Rome's most influential doctor, launched a full-scale attack on athletics around 200 CE. Galen had personal reasons for his hostility. At 34, he suffered a horrific wrestling injury that left a 3-finger gap between his shoulder bones and required 40 days of agonizing treatment. Drawing from his experience treating battered gladiators, he declared that building muscle mass literally made people stupid, because physical strength suffocated mental capacity. Meanwhile, voices defending athletics were disappearing. When ancient Greek wrestling champion Geranos died during a workout while training hungover, philosopher Philostratus saw it not as an example of bad training practices, but as confirmation that athletics were harmful. Galen's antibody bias won by default. His medical writings survived while athletic wisdom was lost, embedding mind-body dualism into Western thought for centuries. Today, we're still recovering from this ancient split. We segregate health from performance, treating doctors and trainers as competitors rather than allies. Ancient Greek vase paintings, on the other hand, show sprinters using biomechanically perfect technique that matches modern sports science, proof that our ancestors understood connections between mind and body that we're only now rediscovering. The solution isn't choosing between mental and physical development, but recognizing them as inseparable partners in human flourishing. Jan Todd's life changed in 1973 when she walked into a hotel gym on vacation and watched another woman deadlift 225 pounds. Todd remembers this as an epiphany. She'd never considered that women could exert this much effort lifting. So Todd started her own training journey. Within 18 months, she had shattered the women's world deadlifting record, hoisting an incredible 394.5 pounds. She became the first woman to total over 1,000 pounds across 3 power lifts. But her journey wasn't merely about breaking records. It was about breaking barriers that had persisted for centuries. The medical establishment had long dismissed weight training as dangerous and unnecessary, especially for women. Even into the 1970s, major medical organizations recommended only aerobic exercise, viewing strength training as superficial vanity. Female strength athletes faced hostile competition conditions, including nude weigh-ins and requirements to wear men's athletic gear. Society feared that lifting weights would make women appear too masculine or unfeminine. Todd herself had to navigate this paradox, developing traditionally masculine strength while maintaining societal expectations of femininity. Science, however, began to tell a different story. Research revealed that women could gain strength proportionally similar to men, sometimes even more in relative terms. When adjusted for lean body weight, women actually exceeded men in leg strength gains. Individual genetic variation proved much more important than gender, with some people gaining 59% muscle mass in 12 weeks, while others gained less than 5%. Todd's personal success mirrored a larger societal development of recognizing the benefits of strength training. Her 1977 Sports Illustrated profile portrayed her as both exceptionally strong and conventionally feminine, challenging deep-seated stereotypes. Her television appearances brought mainstream attention to women's capabilities in strength sports. The societal transformation culminated in 1990, when the American College of Sports Medicine officially endorsed resistance training for all adults. This was the first time major medical authorities backed heavyweight training. Todd's own academic work, including a landmark 1989 research paper proving that men and women should train similarly, helped legitimize what gym-goers had suspected for decades: lifting is good for everyone. During one of her research projects, Jan Todd stumbled upon an 1828 exercise manual for young ladies. She made a startling discovery. The prescribed workout included overhand pull-ups and parallel bar dips that in a recent study only a fraction of college women could perform even after months of training. These supposedly fragile Victorian flowers were executing movements that challenged today's athletes. The gap Todd found between past and present reveals an uncomfortable truth about women's physical capabilities. The real barriers to female strength aren't biological limitations. They're cultural myths so deeply embedded we've mistaken them for natural law. Throughout history, society has celebrated contradictory ideals. Victorian culture simultaneously praised strong women like circus artist Katie Sandwina as both powerful and beautiful, while promoting feminine fragility as the ideal. And early American gymnastics programs, imported from Germany in the 1820s, were surprisingly rigorous and actually focused on girls over boys. challenging modern assumptions about which gender received priority in physical education. The truth is, the fitness world's relationship with female strength has always been volatile. 19th century Harvard Medical School graduate George Winship built a national following promoting heavy lifting as medicine, operating what may have been the first American sports medicine clinic. Yet his sudden death at 42 triggered widespread panic. The media blamed his lifting regimen, forcing similar medical gyms across the country to close. Even scientific acceptance depends on cultural framing. During World War II, Army Dr. Thomas DeLorme developed highly effective rehabilitation protocols using heavy weights, but he faced widespread rejection from colleagues who deemed his heavy resistance exercise too dangerous. His wife suggested renaming the program Progressive Resistance Exercise. Suddenly, the same training became medically acceptable. Research later revealed DeLorme had adapted methods from 1930s muscle magazines, showing how underground fitness culture quietly influenced mainstream medicine. These historical swings demonstrate that women's strength capabilities remain constant while cultural permission to express that strength fluctuates wildly. Medical opinions, fitness trends, and social norms have repeatedly shifted based on individual champions, tragic events, and strategic language choices, rather than biological evidence. The primary obstacles to female physical power exist not in muscle fibers or hormones, but in the narratives we construct about women's strength potential. Dorothy Tischler's daughter couldn't believe her eyes. Her 92-year-old mother, who had shuffled into a nursing home barely able to walk just 2 months earlier, was now striding confidently down the hallway, moving better than her 72-year-old daughter herself. In 8 weeks, Dorothy had tripled her leg strength, transforming from a frail old lady to a formidable mover. For decades, we've accepted muscle loss as an inevitable part of growing older. After 30, we lose 3 to 5% of our muscle mass each decade, with losses accelerating to 10% in later years. This condition, called sarcopenia, affects a staggering 45% of adults over 60. That's 35 million older Americans slowly losing their strength and independence. But groundbreaking research has shattered our fatalistic beliefs. Scientists discovered that even 90-year-olds can safely perform high-intensity strength training and achieve remarkable results. In one study, nursing home residents averaged 174% strength gains in just 8 weeks, with some improving by an astounding 374%. Residents who couldn't rise from chairs unassisted regained that ability, and some ditched their canes entirely. The science is crystal clear. Muscle tissue remains capable of growth and regeneration throughout our entire lifespan. Muscle biopsies reveal that weight training triggers complete cellular renewal in elderly muscles, even producing embryonic proteins once thought impossible in adult tissue. One study of men aged 60 to 72 revealed a doubling in quadriceps strength and a tripling in hamstring strength in just 12 weeks, with CT scans confirming actual muscle growth at the fiber level. Here's the tragic irony. While researchers prove that older adults have extraordinary potential for strength building, our culture obsesses over rare problems like steroid abuse, affecting barely 1% of the population. Media coverage focuses on muscle dysmorphia and gym vanity, rather than the millions of elderly people who could transform their lives through simple strength exercises. By perpetuating myths about inevitable decline, we rob older adults of knowledge that could restore their independence and vitality. The capacity for strength exists at every age. We simply need to share this revolutionary understanding with those who need it most. Closing off our meditation on the meaning of muscle, let's consider a real-life example. Take the story of John, who spent decades building 400 houses and could once lift an engine out of his car. When a rare muscle disease called inclusion body myositis stripped away his strength, he had to relearn the mechanics of daily life. His greatest terror became public restrooms without grab bars. Without functional quadriceps muscles, he couldn't generate the leg power to stand from low toilet seats. Working with his doctor, John discovered that triceps pushdowns could compensate for his weakened legs. By strengthening his arms, he learned to push backward from chair arms rather than forward, using leverage and momentum to propel himself upright. This targeted exercise didn't cure his degenerative disease, but it gave him back the specific movement pattern he needed for independence. John's story illustrates that exercise works exactly like a drug when doctors specify the right type, intensity, frequency, and duration. One particular study demonstrated that high-intensity resistance training can treat depression as effectively as antidepressants, with 60% of participants reducing symptoms by half within 10 weeks. Unlike medication, these benefits persist without ongoing supervision. The evidence extends far beyond mental health. Muscle mass directly controls blood sugar metabolism, making strength training often more effective than diabetes medication in older adults. For arthritis pain, quadriceps-focused resistance training outperforms gentle activities like water aerobics. Even blood pressure responds better to exercise than to many medications. Take Ramani, who started with knee arthritis so severe she rated her pain 9 out of 10. Initially, she could only manage one gym visit per week, but she gradually progressed, from 1 day to multiple days, from 1 kilogram to 6 kilogram weights. After 5 years, she was able to ditch her walking stick and travel independently through London. The tragedy is that despite 30 years of evidence, only 6% of medical schools require coursework on exercise prescription. Most doctors find it easier to write prescriptions than design training programs. But when exercise is prescribed with drug-like specificity, accounting for individual adaptation and long-term progression, it becomes transformative medicine. Muscles are the best-kept health secret we know.